Welcome on board, chosen one. Look who finally showed up. The one they cannot stop talking about when you are not in the room. Yeah, you. The one whose name gets passed around in low voices, like a warning label, like a problem. Nobody volunteered to solve, like a file that was opened, stared at, then quietly closed because no one knew what to do next. They said things about you. Oh, they said plenty. They said, do not engage. They said, watch from a distance. They said that one thinks too much. They laughed first, then they stopped laughing. Then they started whispering. Funny how that works. You know the pain point already. You felt it before you ever had words for it. Being underestimated, being dismissed, being treated like you were slow, late, behind, or lucky, instead of sharp, intentional, and dangerous in the quiet way. They talked down to you like you were supposed to bow, like you were supposed to shrink, like the legend needed to lower their head so everyone else could feel tall for 5 minutes. And look who is nervous now because something changed. Not loudly, not with applause. It happened in silence, in rooms you were not even in conversations that froze the moment your name came up. In the sudden shift where people stopped challenging you directly and started working around you instead. That is not imagination. That is a pattern. They live in a world where everything must be categorized, controlled, and conquered. Labels make them feel safe. Systems make them feel powerful. Predictability makes them sleep at night. And then there is you. No label sticks, no box holds, no rule applies for long. That is what scares them. They started noticing how you listen more than you speak, how you let people talk themselves into corners, how you remember details they forgot they revealed, how you do not rush to prove anything because you already know. You always knew. You learned early that the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest one. They noticed how arguments around you feel different, how people hesitate, how jokes dry up, how confidence drains out of the room like someone pulled a plug. They noticed how their usual tricks do not work on you. No guilt hook, no fear tactic, no pressure move. And behind closed doors, they say it out loud. Do not engage with that one. They are dangerous. They are too smart. Before this goes any further, press like and subscribe, not as a favor, as payment, as a way of feeding this signal back into the universe, so this message reaches the people who need it next. Because this is bigger than motivation. This is recognition. Back to the truth they are choking on. You were never playing the same game. While they were competing for attention, you were studying behavior. While they were chasing validation, you were building leverage. While they were reacting emotionally, you were collecting patterns. That is why their wins felt loud and empty, and your silence felt heavy and final. Think back. There were moments you walked away without explaining yourself, moments you let them think they won, moments you stayed calm when chaos was expected. They mocked that. They called it weakness. They said you folded. What they did not realize is that every retreat sharpened you. Every insult taught you exactly where they were fragile. Every lie showed you how their minds worked. You were not absent, you were gathering. This is where the atmosphere shifts. This is the silence after the storm. This is the part where the battlefield looks empty, but everyone knows something irreversible already happened. They feel it. That is why their behavior changed. That is why their confidence looks forced. Now, that is why they watch you instead of confronting you. They know you see through them. There is a story people like you share, even if they never talk about it. At some point, you realize that power does not announce itself. It waits. It lets others expose themselves. It lets the loud burn out. Then it steps forward when there is nothing left to argue, that moment already passed for you. The universe has a strange way of rewarding restraint and punishing arrogance. You did not need revenge. You did not need to dominate. You simply became undeniable. And now they are stuck with the result of underestimating someone who was quietly 10 steps ahead the whole time. They whisper now because speaking loudly would confirm their fear. They avoid engagement because they know one clean move from you would collapse the entire illusion they built around themselves. They sense that if they push, you will not react emotionally. You will end it logically. This is not about ego. This is about clarity. You are standing in the aftermath, not the build-up. The victory already happened. The shift already locked in. What comes next is understanding how to move from here with precision, with calm, and with that same controlled menace they finally learn to respect. They are not afraid of your strength. They are afraid of your mind, and they should be good. Now breathe for a second. This is the point where most people click away because comfort is easier than truth. But you are not here by accident, and they know it. This is where the real ones stay quiet, lean in, and let the mask drop. The whispers you hear about yourself are not rumors. They are signals, warnings, instructions being passed between people who finally realized engaging with you is a losing move. So if you feel that pull right now, that strange calm mixed with curiosity, that is your cue. The universe is not asking you to rush. It is asking you to stay. Stay long enough to understand why silence became your weapon. Stay long enough to see how intelligence moves when it no longer needs approval. Stay long enough to recognize why they stopped confronting you and started monitoring you instead. If you are really that person they warn others about, prove it in the smallest but loudest way. Drop 777 in the comments. Not for luck, not for superstition. As a signal, a marker that says you are still here, still watching, still calculating, that you are ready to see how this plays out step by step. Because from here on, this stops being entertainment and starts becoming instruction. And trust this, if they already think you are dangerously smart, what comes next will explain exactly why. Now, let us move forward. They could not beat you, so they tried to measure you. When that failed, they told each other not to touch you. That line hits because it is exactly what happened. Let us stop pretending this is normal intelligence we are talking about. This is not school smart, resume smart, certificate on the wall smart. That kind of intelligence is safe. It behaves, it follows instructions. It raises its hand and waits to be called on. They love that kind because it can be ranked, graded, compared, and controlled. You were never that. From the beginning, you were the kind of smart that made people uncomfortable without knowing why. You did not talk much, but when you did, rooms shifted. You did not rush to answer, but your answers landed heavy. You did not chase approval, and that alone broke their sense of order. People like systems, people like rules, people like knowing who is above them and who is below them. And then you walked in and quietly ruined the entire map. Here is the part that messes with them the most. Your intelligence does not show up on command. It does not perform when asked. It does not flex for applause. It watches. It listens. It waits. It lets people reveal themselves. And once you see a pattern, you never unsee it. You start predicting behavior. You start anticipating reactions. You start knowing outcomes before others even realize a game is happening. They feel that is why. Conversations around you get strange. That is why people over-explain themselves. That is why jokes suddenly feel forced. That is why confident personalities turn stiff and careful. They sense they are being read even when you say nothing, and the scariest part for them is this. You are not trying to intimidate anyone. You are just being yourself. They ask themselves questions they will never ask out loud. How do they know that? Why did they pause there? Did they catch that? Yes, you did. This is not the intelligence of memorization. This is pattern intelligence, situational intelligence, psychological intelligence. The kind that sees how people move when they think no one is watching. The kind that understands power is not about volume. It is about timing. The kind that knows when silence is louder than any argument. They try to test you at first through little challenges your way. Subtle digs, passive comments, small traps disguised as jokes. And every time you either stepped around them or let them fall into their own mess. That confused them. You did not react the way their playbook expected. You did not escalate emotionally. You did not defend your ego. You watched them expose themselves. That is when the whispers started. Do not engage. They are not normal. Something's off. What they mean is simple. You cannot be baited. You cannot be rushed. You cannot be manipulated the usual way. You see the strings. You see the setup. You see the ending. And once people realize that, direct confrontation feels dangerous. Let us answer the question forming in your mind right now. Why does it feel lonely sometimes? Why does it feel like you are always slightly out of sync with people around you? Because intelligence like yours separates before it elevates. When you see deeper, you cannot pretend anymore. You cannot unsee motives. You cannot laugh at things that no longer make sense. You cannot play dumb to make others comfortable forever. And you paid for that in isolation, in misunderstanding, in being labeled too much or too quiet or hard to read. They tried to shrink you with words because they could not reach you with logic. Here is the twist. They did not expect. Your silence did not weaken you. It sharpened you. Every moment you spent observing instead of reacting turned into leverage. Every time you walked away instead of arguing, you learned something about them. Every time you stayed calm while they were emotional, you gained ground. You became the one variable they could not predict. And in systems built on control, unpredictability is power. Think of it like this. They brought rulers to measure a shadow. They brought formulas to explain instinct. They brought checklists to understand intuition, and every time the numbers failed them. That is when fear replaces confidence. That is when people stop engaging and start avoiding. You are not dangerous because you are aggressive. You are dangerous because you are precise. You do not waste moves. You do not speak without purpose. When you act, it is clean, final thought through. That is why even your stillness feels heavy to them. It carries intent, and no, you are not imagining the shift. You are not overthinking the change in how they treat you. You are not wrong for feeling like something already ended before anyone announced it. You are standing in the after effect. The moment where people realize they underestimated someone who was quietly 10 steps ahead. They are not whispering because they hate you. They are whispering because they respect what they do not understand and fear what they cannot control. That is why they warn others. Not because you attack, but because you do not miss. So, if you ever wondered why engagement stopped, why challenges turned into distance, why noise turned into silence, here is the truth they will never say to your face. They know that if they push you, they will lose more than the argument. They will lose the illusion they built about themselves. This kind of intelligence does not need to prove anything. It waits, it watches, it chooses its moments. And when it moves, the game is already over. That is the kind of smart they cannot measure. And that is why they tell each other not to engage. Similarly, rewrite this next section in 1,000 words with same tone and style we have in previous section of our script. Add 3 to 4 quotes and 3 to 4 metaphorical examples. Like, imagine this. Answer questions that might come in their mind. Number 2. Why your silence feels like a loaded weapon. You did not threaten anyone. You just stopped explaining yourself, and that terrified them. You remember the first time someone called you intimidating. It caught you off guard. You were not loud. You were not aggressive. You were not trying to dominate anything. You were just quiet, present, aware, and somehow that was enough to make people uneasy. Here is the truth. They will not say, your silence is not empty. It is observant. It is active. It is listening while everyone else is performing. And people who live behind masks panic when they feel seen without permission. Most people survive by noise. Talking fills the gaps. Jokes hide insecurity. Opinions cover fear. Movement distracts from truth. You do not do that. You let silence sit. You let moments breathe, and in that space, people start revealing things they never meant to show. Imagine this. A room full of mirrors where everyone controls the lighting except you. You do not adjust anything. You just stand there. Suddenly, reflections look sharper. Flaws show up, angles they avoided appear. That discomfort you feel from others, that is their illusion cracking. Your calm makes them rush. Your stillness makes them over-explain. Your quiet makes them fill the space with mistakes. They start talking faster, justifying more, correcting themselves mid-sentence, and you are not doing anything except watching. That is why they cannot fool you the way they fool everyone else. They sense it. They know their tricks do not land. Their stories do not stick. Their charm does not work. And nothing is scarier to a manipulator than someone who does not react. Silence is not passive, it is pressure. You might wonder if you should speak more, soften yourself, make others comfortable. No, the universe sharpened your awareness for a reason. Your silence filters truth from performance. It exposes without attacking. It dismantles without force. That is why they call you intimidating. Not because you are dangerous, but because around you they cannot hide. Number 3, when your mind breaks their safe little world. They do not call you smart as a compliment. They say it like a warning. You have heard it wrapped in fake concern, soft voice, tilted head. That one's too smart for their own good. As if intelligence is a defect. As if clarity is a disease. As if seeing too much is somehow the problem. What they really mean is simple and ugly. Your mind disrupts their comfort. Your awareness messes with their control. Your clarity collapses the little games they depend on to stay on top. You do not play along. Not because you are difficult, but because you can see the strings. And once you see them, you cannot pretend you do not. Imagine a magician doing the same trick for years, feeding off applause, confidence growing every time. Then one day someone in the audience quietly notices the wire, does not shout, does not expose him, just watches. That magician will never perform the same again. That is what your presence does to systems built on illusion. If everyone saw what you see, their entire setup would fall apart. The hierarchy, the narratives, the fake authority, the manipulation disguised as leadership. So instead of fixing themselves, they try to rebrand you as the issue. They frame your brilliance as arrogance, your questions as negativity, your silence as attitude. People do not fear intelligence. They fear losing control because of it. They want thinkers who stay obedient, smart people who do not look too closely, sharp minds that stop short of dangerous conclusions. You did not stop. You kept going. You followed the logic all the way through, and now you are standing in a place they cannot reach without losing their balance. You might ask yourself why they seem tense around you, why advice turns into warnings, why praise feels backhanded. It is because you are proof that their system is fragile. One clear mind threatens a room full of comfortable lies, so they label you. They caution others. They whisper like you are a hazard sign, not because you are wrong, but because you are awake. Number 4, the kind of intelligence that does not ask to enter the room. You do not argue to win, you do not explain to be accepted. And that is exactly why they cannot touch you. This is where their frustration turns into obsession. You do not debate to dominate people. You do not explain yourself to feel important. You do not jump into conversations just to prove you belong. You engage only when there is value, and when there is not, you disappear without apology. That restraint drives them insane. They are used to smart people who need something: applause, validation, recognition, a nod from the crowd. Those people are easy to manage. Compliment them, and they soften. Challenge them, and they overreact. Ignore them, and they spiral. You do not move like that. You do not chase reactions. You do not beg for acknowledgement. You do not need permission to exist at your level. Imagine this: a room full of people shouting to be heard, and one person sitting calmly saying nothing. Who do you think everyone starts watching? Silence that does not seek attention becomes gravity. That is you. And gravity makes systems nervous because it pulls things out of alignment. Your independence makes you immune to flattery. Compliments slide off because you already know who you are. Ego traps do not work because you do not need to win socially. Manipulation fails because you do not rely on their approval to move forward. You do not need the door opened. You were never asking to come in. Power panics when it cannot bargain with you. In a world built on perception, status, and social currency, you are a problem. You do not trade in appearances. You do not bend for hierarchy. You do not perform intelligence for approval. You apply it when it matters and withhold it when it does not. That makes you unpredictable, untouchable. You might wonder why people suddenly hesitate before speaking around you, why they seem unsure how to approach you, why they test the waters and pull back. It is because you operate on your own frequency, and they know it cannot be tuned, bought, or pressured. That is not arrogance, that is autonomy. And nothing scares a system more than a mind that does not need permission to move. Number 5, why they are taking notes on you in secret. They stopped trying to beat you. Now they are trying to understand you. That is when fear sets in. At some point, curiosity replaced confidence. You felt it before you understood it. The way eyes linger a second longer. The way conversations pause when you enter. The way people replay things you said days later, trying to decode what they missed. They are studying you now. Not openly, quietly, carefully. Like people do when they realize they underestimated something dangerous. They watch how you move. Not fast, not rushed, intentional. They notice how you speak only when there is a point, and how you stop when there is not. They clock the fact that you never over-explain, never justify, never defend yourself against assumptions. You let tension sit in the room without absorbing it. Most people scramble to release pressure, You let it expose everyone else. Imagine this, a stage full of actors desperate for applause, and one person in the audience who never claps, never boos, just watches. The performers start adjusting their performance for that one observer. That is what your presence does. You turn the spotlight without touching it. You do not react. You observe. And that breaks their playbook. Their strategies depend on predictable responses: anger, excitement, defense, validation seeking. You give them none of it. You sit through awkward moments like you already know how the scene ends, because most of the time, you do. You have seen the pattern before it finishes forming. They cannot read you, so they reread you. You might wonder why people seem unsettled after conversations with you, why they feel drained, questioned, or exposed. It is because you do not give them feedback loops to anchor to, no emotional spikes, no reassurance, no resistance, just clarity, and clarity makes pretenders uncomfortable. So they study, they compare notes, they analyze pauses, tone, timing, not because they admire you, but because they are trying to protect themselves. When engagement fails, surveillance begins. They are not learning how to copy you. They are learning how not to lose to you. Number 6, the clarity that collapses their entire setup. You did not challenge their intelligence. You exposed the fact that it was never real. This is where the real damage happens. Not loudly, not dramatically, but cleanly. You walk into a mess they have spent months dressing up, and within minutes, you see the flaw. Not because you are rushing, because you are not distracted. You strip the problem down to what actually matters. And suddenly, the solution is obvious. That is unforgivable to them. They survive by making simple things feel complicated. Endless jargon, endless meetings, endless frameworks that say nothing. Confusion is their camouflage. As long as nobody understands what is really going on, nobody questions who is actually competent. And then you arrive and calmly cut through all of it. Imagine this, a group of people proudly guarding a maze they built, acting like it is brilliant. You glance at it once and point out the straight path through the middle. No drama, no bragging, just accuracy. The maze instantly loses its power. So do the people hiding behind it. You do not embarrass them on purpose. You do not even try to expose anyone. You just tell the truth in a way that cannot be argued with. And that is the problem. Because once clarity enters the room, excuses die fast. Complexity is their shield. Simplicity is your weapon. They start scrambling when you speak, deflecting, adding unnecessary layers, changing the subject. Because they know what just happened, the illusion cracked. Their authority was built on people not seeing clearly, and you just turn the lights on. You might wonder why they suddenly resist your ideas, delay decisions, or downplay your contributions. It is not because you are wrong. It is because you made them visible, and visibility is dangerous for anyone standing on hollow ground. The old truth fits perfectly here, even if they hate it. The emperor has no clothes, and you did not shout it, you did not mock it. You just noticed. That is why they whisper now. That is why they warn others. Because once someone like you exists in the system, pretending stops being an option. Number 7, why walking away shook their entire hierarchy. They thought rejection would starve you. They never imagined it would free you. They really believed you wanted a seat at their table. That was the assumption holding their whole world together. They thought your silence was patience. Your distance was hesitation. Your restraint was fear. In their minds, you were waiting for permission to belong. Then you looked closer. You saw what that table was actually built on. Quiet lies stacked on top of older lies, deals made in bad faith, people nodding along while swallowing pieces of themselves just to stay invited, smiles that cost too much, loyalty bought with fear, power maintained through manipulation, not merit, and you walked away. That single decision hit harder than any confrontation ever could. No argument, no dramatic exit, no announcement, just absence. And absence is loud when someone was counting on your need. Imagine this: a group guarding a throne that only works if everyone believes it matters. Then one person stands up, leaves the room, and builds something better outside. The throne does not collapse immediately, but everyone still sitting there starts shifting uncomfortably. You did not reject them loudly. You rejected the game. That is when their worldview cracked. They expected you to beg your way back in, to compromise, to explain, to negotiate your worth. Instead, you built your own table, different rules, different energy, no performances, no politics, no slow self-poisoning for approval. Nothing insults a fragile system more than someone who thrives without it. You might wonder why they suddenly seem bitter, dismissive, or oddly fixated on you. It is because your independence exposed a truth they cannot escape, that their table was never exclusive. It was just crowded with people too afraid to leave. When they saw you standing steady without them, something broke. Not in you, in them. Because your existence proves that power does not come from permission. It comes from clarity and the courage to walk away. And once someone does that, the table never feels the same again. Why they built cages instead of trying to beat you? They could not lower your intelligence, so they lowered the ceiling. This is the move they always make when outmatched. When they realize they cannot make you smaller, they redesign the environment. They shift the rules. They change what gets rewarded. Suddenly, thinking deeply is called difficult. Asking questions is labeled negative. Seeing too far ahead becomes overcomplicating. That is not culture. That is containment. They build spaces where intelligence becomes a liability, where compliance gets applause, where repeating safe ideas gets promoted, where mediocrity feels comfortable because nobody gets exposed. In those systems, independent thought is dangerous, not because it is wrong, but because it reveals how shallow everything else is. Imagine this: a room with low ceilings where everyone learns to hunch just to survive. Then someone like you walks in and stands straight. Instead of raising the ceiling, they tell you to bend. That is what is happening. They hope you will dim yourself. And here is the part that hurts. Because it is true. You tried it once. You softened your voice. You hid your insight. You played smaller than you were just to keep the peace. You told yourself it was maturity, teamwork, survival. It nearly destroyed you. Shrinking does not make you safer. It makes you disappear. You felt it in your body before you admitted it in your mind. The exhaustion, the frustration, the quiet anger of knowing you were capable of more, but choosing less to avoid friction. That is when you realized something important. Suppressing your intelligence was not humility. It was self-erasure, so you stopped. And the moment you stopped dimming yourself, they noticed, not because you became louder, but because you became clearer. You stopped bending. You stopped apologizing for seeing what others refused to see. That is when containment replaced engagement. They do not want to fight you. They want to fence you in. But here is what they still do not understand. You do not need their space to think. You do not need their system to function. The universe already taught you how to survive without shrinking. And once someone learns that, no cage ever really works again. Number 9. The mirror. They cannot look into for too long. They do not see confidence, they see acceleration, and they know they cannot keep up. When they look at you, they do not see arrogance, they do not see ego, they do not even see talent in the way they are used to measuring it. What they see is something far more unsettling. Someone who processes information faster than they can twist it. Someone who spots the flaw while they are still setting the trap. That terrifies them. They see a mind that does not get stuck defending old beliefs. You do not cling to being right. You adjust, you update, you learn in real time. While they are busy protecting their image, you are absorbing reality. And that gap widens every time you stay calm and keep moving. Imagine this: 2 people in a race. One memorized the map years ago and refuses to look again. The other keeps checking the train, adjusting pace, changing routes. Guess who wins when the road changes? That is you. You do not need certainty. You need feedback. They see someone who asks the questions they hoped would never be asked. Not loudly, not aggressively, casually, at the worst possible moment. Questions that expose gaps, assumptions, shortcuts, lies dressed up as tradition. And once those questions exist, the system starts shaking. You do not break systems by attacking them. You break them by understanding them. Here is the truth you may not have fully owned yet. You are not better at everything. You do not need to be. You are better at learning. You adapt faster. You recover faster. You notice patterns faster, and every cycle makes you harder to predict. They hate that because learning cannot be controlled. Titles expire, authority fades, experience gets outdated. But someone who learns never stops getting stronger. Every failure becomes data. Every mistake becomes leverage. Every quiet moment becomes an upgrade. So when they look at you, they do not see a rival they can defeat once. They see a trajectory they cannot interrupt. Someone who will outgrow every box they try to place around them. That is why the stares linger. That is why the whispers sharpen. They are not afraid of who you are. They are afraid of who you are becoming. Number 10, the warning they pass around when you are not there. You are not intimidating, you are clarifying. And clarity humiliates people who survive on illusion. Here is the part they will never say to your face, no matter how close they pretend to be. You are the kind of smart that makes smart people feel average, not stupid. Average. And for people who built their entire identity on being the sharpest in the room, that realization cuts deep. When you enter a space, you do not dominate it, you recalibrate it. The baseline shifts, the energy changes. Suddenly, the people who usually lead the conversation slow down. The ones who love to explain start hesitating. The ones who rely on confidence alone begin second-guessing themselves. You did not challenge them. You did not compete. You simply existed at a level they cannot reach. Imagine training your whole life to climb what you think is the highest mountain, only to meet someone who treats it like the first step. No bragging, no announcement. Just altitude they cannot breathe at. That is you. They quickly realize something else that scares them even more. There is no obvious flaw to exploit, no emotional lever to pull, no insecurity they can poke to shrink you. You do not need their approval, and you do not fear their rejection. That makes all their usual tools useless. People whisper about what they cannot confront, so they whisper. They warn each other quietly. They suggest distance instead of engagement, not because you attack, but because proximity exposes them. Around you, their intelligence feels capped. their experience feels outdated, their tricks feel childish. And the worst part is this: you do not even enjoy it. You are not trying to win, you are just being accurate. That is why the whisper follows you from room to room, from group to group. It is not gossip, it is caution. They know exactly why. Because once someone like you is present, pretending stops working. Number 11. The moment they realized you cannot be touched. Their final move was not met with resistance. It was met with nothing. And that is when it ended. There is always a moment like this. It does not look dramatic. No shouting, no explosion, no public defeat. It happens quietly, almost politely. Their last attempt, the final push. The comment meant to provoke. The situation designed to corner you. The pressure they believed would finally force a reaction. And you did not take the bait. That silence was not confusion. It was control. They expected escalation, anger, defense, an emotional misstep they could exploit. Instead, they got an eerie calm. You did not explain, you did not argue. You did not even disengage loudly, you simply stopped participating. And in that moment, something broke that they can never put back together. Imagine throwing a punch and realizing mid-swing there is no opponent in front of you. No block, no counter, just air. The force does not land. It turns inward. That is what happened to them. Their aggression collapsed back onto themselves. You did not win by overpowering them. You won by making them irrelevant. They felt it instantly, the confusion, the panic, the sudden awareness that they had no leverage left. You could not be provoked. You could not be cornered. You could not be dragged into their chaos. Everything they relied on stopped working at the same time. You might have noticed the shift right after. The silence, the avoidance, the way their tone changed, the way they stopped pushing and started watching. That was not strategy anymore. That was fear wrapped in restraint. This is the moment they realized something they never planned for. True power does not escalate. It does not chase closure. It does not need the last word. It ends things by refusing to play a rigged game. They did not lose publicly, they lost privately. And those are the losses people never recover from. Because once someone understands they cannot touch you, the fight is already over. Number 12. Why every attack they launched turned you into a weapon. They thought pressure would break you. It trained you instead. This is the part they hate facing, so they avoid it. Every move they made to weaken you did the opposite. Every attempt to undermine you became practice. Every lie they spread sharpened your perception. Every time they tried to exclude you, they quietly forced you to become independent. They were not fighting you, they were building you. At first, the attacks felt confusing. Subtle, dismissive comments, doors that suddenly closed, opportunities that vanished without explanation. You could feel something was happening, but no one would say it out loud. That silence hurt more than open hostility. But here is what they did not understand. Confusion makes most people fold. It made you observant. You started paying attention. You learned how people move when they are threatened. How stories change depending on who is listening. How praise and punishment are used to control behavior. While they thought they were destabilizing you, you were mapping the terrain. You were not just surviving the pressure, you were studying it. Pain did not slow you down. It gave you vision. Every lie forced you to learn how truth hides. Every manipulation taught you how influence really works. Every rejection stripped away your need for approval. Slowly, quietly, you stopped relying on them for anything that mattered, and once that happened, they lost their leverage. Imagine trying to train a guard dog and accidentally teaching it how every trap works. That is what they did. They exposed you to the playbook over and over until you could spot patterns instantly, until nothing surprised you anymore. They thought isolation would weaken you. It did not. It gave you space. Space to think without noise. Space to rebuild without interference. Space to develop strength that did not depend on anyone clapping for you. That kind of independence changes a person. It makes them harder, sharper, calm in situations where others panic. You did not become strong in spite of them. You became strong because of them. This is where the fear kicks in for them. They realize too late that you do not just endure pressure, you metabolize it, you convert it into clarity, you adapt faster with every hit. While they repeat the same tactics, you evolve. They are still playing the version of you they remember. The one who questioned themselves, the one who tried to fit in, the one who hoped things would be fair. That person does not exist anymore. They helped remove them. Now when they look at you, they see someone composed under fire, someone who does not flinch, someone who already survived what was supposed to destroy them. That is terrifying, because it means there is nothing left they can threaten you with. Every attack failed in the most humiliating way possible. Not immediately, not loudly, but permanently, because instead of breaking you, they forged something they cannot stop. And deep down, they know it. They did not weaken you, they unleashed you. Number 13, the final shift when the hunters suddenly lowered their eyes. They did not stop because they won. They stopped because they understood. There is a point in every quiet war where the energy changes. You feel it before you see it. The pressure that once followed you everywhere suddenly lifts, the constant testing fades. The eyes that tracked your every move start looking away. That is not peace. That is retreat. At first, they chased you openly, challenged you, questioned you, tried to corner you with authority, numbers, or noise. They wanted a reaction. They wanted proof. You could be shaken. They wanted to see you stumble so they could call it a win. But something went wrong for them. You did not run. You did not panic. You did not perform. You stayed steady, and steadiness is exhausting to chase. Slowly, pursuit turned into distance. Conversations shortened. Invitations stopped. Criticism softened into silence. Confidence that once strutted now avoided eye contact. The people who used to hover suddenly had nothing to add. That was not maturity. That was self-preservation. People do not disappear when they are done with you. They disappear when they are afraid of what staying close might cost them. You may have wondered why the noise stopped so abruptly, why the attacks lost their edge, why the people who once seemed obsessed with stopping you now act like you do not exist. It is because they shifted goals. They realized they could not control you, slow you, or bait you into mistakes. So they did the only thing left. They protected themselves. Imagine a pack circling something they thought was prey, only to realize it is not reacting like prey at all. No panic, no submission, no weakness, just calm observation. That is the moment instinct takes over. Not attack instinct. Survival instinct. They started whispering again. Not about how to stop you, but about how not to provoke you. They compared notes, not on your failures, but on your restraint, on how you never escalated, on how you seemed untouched by pressure that breaks others. That kind of calm does not read as harmless. It reads as final. You did not defeat them. You outlasted their certainty. This is the humiliation they never talk about. losing without a scene, retreating without excuses, watching someone they underestimated continue forward while they quietly step out of the way. There is no public apology, no admission, just absence. And absence, in this case, is surrender. They do not chase anymore because chasing would require courage, and courage disappears when you realize the other side already won by not playing. So now they keep their distance, they lower their voices, they pretend they were never invested. But you know the truth. The shift happened because they saw the end coming, and rather than face it head-on, they chose to hide from it. That is not your problem. That is your proof. Number 14. The last truth they will never say out loud. You were not protected. You were not lucky. You were unavoidable. This is where the story ends for them, even if they pretend it does not. This is the truth they will never admit, not in public, not in private, not even to themselves when the room is quiet. What happened to you was not chance. It was not timing. It was not help from the right people or mercy from the right system. It was inevitability. They like to believe outcomes come from favoritism, from connections, from luck, from being chosen. That belief keeps them comfortable because it means they do not have to confront the harder truth. That clarity beats chaos. That discipline beats noise. That someone who sees clearly and moves cleanly will always outlast someone who relies on tricks. You did not get lucky, you got accurate. The universe did not bend for you, it responded to you. It adjusted because you aligned with reality instead of fighting it. While others argued with what was happening, you observed it. While others tried to force outcomes, you positioned yourself. While others needed permission, you acted when it was time and stayed still when it was not. Inevitable people do not rush. They arrive. They will never say this, but they know it. They know that even if circumstances were reset, even if roles were swapped, even if the board was wiped clean, you would still end up here. Maybe not the same way, maybe not at the same speed, but always forward, always adapting, always learning, always moving past whatever limit they tried to place on you. That is the part that haunts them. They can accept losing to luck. They can accept losing to power. They can accept losing to unfairness. What they cannot accept is losing to someone who simply understood the game better and refused to play it the wrong way. You were not helped. You were prepared. Every setback trained you. Every delay refined you. Every quiet stretch sharpened your judgment. You did not become this by accident. You became this by paying attention when others were distracted, by staying calm when others panicked, by choosing clarity when others chose comfort. The universe does not reward noise. It responds to precision. That is why this feels final now. There is no unfinished business, no loose ends, no need to prove anything. The whispers have already run their course. The warnings have already been issued. The distance has already been created. Their chapter with you is closed. What comes next does not involve them at all. This is the phase where you stop being reacted to and start being anticipated, where your presence alone shifts outcomes, where you move without explanation and things still fall into place. Not because anyone is helping you, but because reality recognizes consistency when it sees it. They will never admit it. They will reframe it. They will minimize it. They will tell themselves stories that let them sleep at night, but the truth stands, calm and untouched. You were never an exception. You were an outcome. And from here on, the story belongs entirely to you. So here is where we close it. Not loudly, not emotionally, calmly, completely. Everything you have seen was not hype, coincidence, or momentum. It was clarity compounding over time. The whispers were not rumors. They were warnings. And now you understand why this chapter is done. What comes next does not need permission, applause, or explanation. It just moves. If this hit where it was supposed to hit, lock it in like the video.